Here we are in November talking to Queenie, one of my patients. And Queenie had previously had radial keratotomy, so we're going to ask her a few questions about the radial keratotomy. Queenie, how long ago did you have the RK? Do you remember?
Over 20 years ago. I had it in both eyes. My vision was minus 650 in one eye and minus 725 in the other. So I could barely see the E.
Yeah, when you're that nearsighted, you usually can hardly see there's a chart, let alone the E.
Yeah.
So most of my experience with RK was it was a good operation and it worked for a while, but then most people eventually start getting blurred again. So when did that happen for you?
Probably when I hit maybe in my mid-40s. It started getting harder to read, and I guess with age, I became more farsighted, and so I had to start using reading glasses. And so it became somewhat of a hassle having to adjust from computer to reading and going to distance. So I ended up wearing glasses, and I tried wearing contact lenses, basically gas permeable lenses, but that became a problem because of the flattening of the eye created a problem with the curvature of a gas permeable, and the soft lenses, because of my stigmatism, did not really work well.
That's exactly right. It's very hard to fit RK patients with hard lenses because the cornea is so flat. And what happened to you happens to lots of radiokeratotomy patients. First, they get into their 40s, they can't read. They start getting more farsighted. So you go from being real nearsighted, and for a while you're perfect. They start getting farsighted. And then you end up being blurred for far and near. And then you decided to do something. So tell us a little bit about how you found out to come to me.
Well, I listened to Rick Dees, who just started his new radio station, 93.9, and he was talking about this surgeon that did laser surgery, and he highly recommended it. And so I did some research on the web, got some information, then I emailed Dr. Saul's office to asked about RK patients and how much experience he had with RK patients. I knew that it was kind of a unique thing, and that regular laser really wasn't maybe a viable thing because of the fact that, we already had incisions already in the cornea, and that maybe this wasn't going to be, work well. So anyway, I did give Dr. Salz a call, and he actually emailed me personally to let me know answer some of my concerns. And then we had a meeting, and he suggested PRK versus regular laser, the standard laser surgery, which would reshape my eye and somewhat preserve the RK incisions, since I was a little bit concerned of too many cuts in the eye. But Rick Dees was the starting point of how I got to meet Dr. Salt.
Yeah, and you're right about that. We used to do LASIK on RK patients and found that it's a little riskier because you're cutting through the radiokeratotomy incisions. And so PRK is being done more commonly now in RK patients, and it works just as well as LASIK. But as you found out, it's not quite as accurate. And when we treated you, we tried to give you a reading eye and a distance eye, and it turned out both eyes became reading eyes. And I was pretty sure that eventually you'd come down and be good, but we watched it for 10 months or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it didn't budge. So we recently retreated one of your eyes so you could see far away, and now we finally have you the way we wanted it. So you've got one eye that sees far and the other eye that sees near. That's called monovision, and I think you're doing pretty well with that. Do you agree with that?
I am. I'm doing pretty well. I do wear some lenses. It has somewhat of a matter of security on my part when I drive at night. I've always, especially since I had RK and had to wear glasses afterwards, I always felt insecure when I drove at night. So I still do that somewhat, although my lenses are very minimal, and one of the lenses, my farsighted eye now is basically a plain lens with no prescription. But I wear it just to add a thing, just to give me a little bit of sharpness at night. But during the daytime, I don't need anything to drive.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. Most monovision patients are fine for almost everything they do, but a lot of them wear glasses at night so they're balanced to drive.
Right.
Well, great. Thank you very much for the interview, and you'll look for yourself on YouTube maybe later today.
Okay.